Greens, fellow captains, Admiral Seth here, and today we have in port the Tier IX American Premium Battleship Kearsarge. Let's get right into it. Armor layout, it's covered in 32 millimeters on the fore and aft plate ends, and then it has most of the deck is 38 millimeters. That has the, oh yeah, I forgot to say it's a hybrid, a battleship CV hybrid, and then the auxiliary room, which the aircraft carrier that's taped onto it, is covered in mostly 19 millimeters. And then the guns, yeah, they cover in, let's see here, 190 top plate and then 254 millimeter side plates. Front plate is 406, 60 inches. And the rear plate is 254. The Citadel, I keep the torpedo protection on. Oh, that's the format. The Citadel is decent. It's pretty much 38 millimeters and 32 millimeters on top, and it has these little bit of Citadel armor that's 203 millimeters and 279 millimeters. The main protection, I think, for the Citadel is the torpedo protection, the torpedo bulkheads. Side plating, 32 millimeters, then at the top is 330 millimeters and 254 millimeters. At the bottom it has 50 millimeters. So it's decently armored. Let's see, survivability. It has a 4,300 hit points and a 24% torpedo protection damage reduction. Aircraft, it has attack aircraft, 5 in a squadron, and each one carries 3 Tiny Tim HE rockets with a 120-second aircraft restoration time. Interesting thing about the aircraft is they're kind of similar to Soviet CVs, where the Soviet CVs, you launch a squadron, then when you attack, they all attack at the same time. Normally, it's in, like, 2 planes go down, do their attack, then you bring the other ones around, then continue with this. They all do it at the same time. Artillery, and the main part, it has 4x3, 406mm 16-inch guns, 36-second reload time, 180-degree turn time of 37.5 seconds. Maximum dispersion is 255 meters, and decent maximum range of 22.7 kilometers. HE has decent HE with 36% chance of fire, and then it has the super heavy American AP with 701 meters a second and a 13,100 maximum damage per shell. It has a whole bunch of secondaries, but they aren't that good. 7 secondaries on each side, and they're dual purpose, which means they're the AA guns as well. They're part of the AA guns. Let's see, right now they have 7.3 kilometer real maximum range and 6-second reload time. The AA defense has, I think, has a decent AA defense. It has 20 Orlicons, 20 millimeter 20mm oral cons, 10x4 40mm Bofors, and then these are dual purpose. It has moderate defense overall. Maneuverability, for being something this large, it seems to have a very decent maneuverability. It's fast enough where it can keep up at Tier 9 with 30 knots. But kind of pays for being so big for having a very large turning circle radius of 1,050 meters. And the reverse shift time is almost 20 seconds, 18.4 seconds, which is decently slow. As surprisingly low detectability range of 14.8 kilometers. Okay, so armaments, consumables, and upgrades. Has HE, AP, and it has the HE attack aircraft. Then for the consumables, it has damage con and somewhat improved heal. Upgrades, slot 1, main armaments mod 1, slot 2, damage con mod 1. So for slot 3, I did artillery planning room mod 1. I guess you could do main battery mod 2. But I did this so the range could get out some, because base it's like 19 kilometers. For slot 4, I would do damage con mod 2. And for slot 5, I would do concealment system mod 1 probably to get that concealment even lower. And slot 6, artillery plotting room mod 2 to get that dispersion down some. Commander skills, I would do emergency repair specialist, reduce the reload time of the damage con and heal. Grease the gears to get that traverse speed faster. Adrenaline rush, so because you do lose some health in this, a decent amount of health. So it's good to get the reload time down while you're losing health. And then concealment expert. Next I would get super heavy AP and fire prevention. And I guess if you want to spec into maybe focused fire training. Now I'll pop into some battles and show the gameplay of it sealing. After playing a few battles in Kearsarge, I kind of figured out how to play it best. Mainly it's a Montana with the guns of the North Carolina. Because the main difference between the guns of the Montana and North Carolina are the North Carolina's guns move, pretty much go into low Earth orbit and then very slowly go back down and then go to where you fired them. Go back down to where you fired them. The Montana has a faster velocity and it's easier to hit stuff with the Montana. So, yeah. Pretty much what I figured out what to do is go on one of the flanks and go at mid to long range, or, well, it's really hard at long range because the shells are so slow. But mid-range, go mid-range and just throw all your shells at the enemy and do as much damage until close to probably the middle or end of the game, and then you can start to push in more. And I think at short to mid-range, Kearsarge excels the most, because since the shells are slower by a lot, it you can't hit very much at long range. And surprisingly, after playing a few battles, I noticed that it has pretty good armor. It doesn't ricochet everything, it doesn't bounce every kind of shell. Yeah, I think it bounces up to 16 inches. 16-inch shells. Yeah. So it is moderate at battle tank when getting close. And it has 14 secondary guns, 7 on each side, so that helps some. The main trouble at just about any range is you have the big aircraft carrier strapped to the middle of your ship. And the aircraft carrier only has 16 millimeters armor, and just about anything can penetrate 16 millimeters armor, which means it'll be a target for HE spammers and destroyers and just about anything. The planes, they're good. They're good at, like, if you're going towards a cap, but like in the replay it shows my team going towards the A cap. I use the planes to kind of do spotting to find the Kearsarge, and then I spot the regun, then I decide to just shoot at the Kearsarge. And I think all of the rockets missed. And then the nice thing is the reload time, the restoration time on the planes, the 2 minutes of restoration time starts right when your planes take off. Which means if you're spending like 2 minutes in the air, by the time you get back, the planes will already be ready again. And one other problem is, since it's so big, it is hard to maneuver. It does have decent speed for such a big ship, but since it's so big, it has a very large turning circle radius, and also it doesn't have the fastest rudder shifter. The guns are the main pro. They are very powerful. They do a bunch of damage when they hit. So I think in the replay in the background you should see a couple times where I end up taking off a decent amount of damage out of some ships. Situations. It's decent at kiting. The hard part is the front guns don't have very good firing angles, so you kind of have to be somewhat broadside all the time in order to fire all your guns. It does have good aim, dead ahead, if I'm correct. I don't remember. I think I only got like one CV game the whole time I played it. But also you have other Kearsarges with the attack aircraft, and then you have like spotter airplanes on just about every battleship or fighter, which you can shoot. Let's see here.
The ship is on fire!
It seems to have, it looked to me like it had a boost in it. I just wondered that, I don't know, maybe I just did damage to like more destroyers and more damage to stuff compared to Palmer. More damage to a single target, and thus I got more creds and XP, or it might be the camo or something like that. And the aircrafts, and I guess the ship will be a good one for aim spotting since you have the attack aircraft. The extended range kind of helps, but not really, because even shooting at 19 kilometers, you don't really hit very much. I think the sweet spot is around 14 to 16 kilometers, and then if you just want to decimate a battleship at point blank range, but most of the time if there's something in your secondary range, that's not usually good. Because your sighting isn't that good. It's not like the German battleships with the turtleback armor, or the German battle cruisers with just a very thick, good armor. And also, it's a very large target. But it's pretty good at kind of, not exact, it's a good utility type ship for helping take a flank at the if you have support. If you're on your own, it's not a good idea, because if you're trying to take a flank on your own and there's a decent amount of enemies, they're just all going to target you down. And depending if it's a bunch of light cruisers and destroyers or what it is, a battleship and some light cruisers, the light cruisers and destroyers are just going to get a bunch of pins through your aircraft carrier deck, and the battleships are probably going to... Battleships are probably have a hard time, especially if you're battling them. Sear. But it is good at helping push a flank, because... But not in like the front, if you're in Palmer, and it's probably be in the front, or right behind the front, because you have very good armor and good secondaries. With Kearsarge, it's good to be in the middle of the push. It doesn't sound right, in the middle of the push. Not in the middle of your team. If your team's pushing in the middle, not in the front, not in the back. Aircraft, it's very useful to attack aircraft for spotting destroyers and other ships that might be hiding, and then pop out and torpedo your allies. And it's good for kind of an annoyance for enemy ships. And if I'm correct, the aircraft are good for kind of trying to get the enemy ships to go broadside to your team. And the aircraft that go CV, CVs. I'm more of a battleship or a cruiser main. But when they hit, they do around 10k, I think, 10,000 damage if you get a good hit. So it's a good way of getting a little bit of additional damage. And Kearsarge is what just about any American battleship is good at. Sending cruisers, broadside cruisers specifically, back to port. Because there's the super heavy American AP. And that stuff does a whole lot of damage when it hits.
Autopilot mode enabled.
I never tried the HE. Probably even the AP with some 12 guns. If there's a destroyer and you have all 12 guns on target and fire in the general direction, giving it a decent lead, aiming at these, you're probably gonna hit. And then hopefully assist the destroyer in not being able to really play anymore because it would be at too low of health. And also it's good at capping as well. Overall, I personally really enjoyed it, or really enjoy it currently. I'd say it's currently for coal or doubloons. I'd probably recommend, if you want to get it, and I'd probably recommend getting it for coal. Getting coal takes a while, but it's for free. When you get all the coal, you can get it for free without having to spend any money, and like getting it for doubloons. And the replay in the background, currently my team's winning by about 400 points, and five ships to their 2 ships, which I think is probably going to be 1 ship very soon because their Kikaze is getting targeted by King George V in New Orleans. And against broadside battleships, they do themselves very well too. Especially British battleships and battleships like Japanese battleships usually. The lesser armored battleships, it can do a whole lot of damage to them. Cap and cap A and hopefully help and gain some extra damage on Lion, which I think Lion doesn't have that good of AA.
Torpedoes astern. Our victory is
it is also nice. And it's kind of a double-edged sword with all the aircraft launching at once, because once you lose one, you kind of lose it until all your aircraft get restored. And then it kind of takes off from your attack. But it can do decent damage when you still have a decent amount of the aircraft left. Against Lion, my AP does decent than my team one. So overall, I'd probably rate it probably either 7 or 8 out of 10. I'd personally recommend if you want to get it.
Autopilot mode enabled.
Get it. And yeah. Let's see on the house scenes. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Watch my other videos.